soul surfers. River here for Čačo Busin, true friend, our weekly circle to help you play your cards. Welcome back. And if you are new, welcome. Me, myself, and I, we are honored and thrilled to collaborate with you. And we are here to help you play your cards with a grounded, scientific method, effective adoption and education practices. And we are hoping that this circle may help you make and play your deck of cards, ease worries, align missions, shift obstacles into building blocks, enhance your past, present, and future. And in the circle, you may ask for help and put to the test my 17 years of experience assisting adolescents and their families, 10 years as a high priestess, 3 years of coaching beginning through master teachers, and a lifetime of adoption experience. This circle is intended for informational and educational purposes. It is not intended to substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, and/or treatment. So please consult your medical professional before making changes to your diet, exercise routine, medical regimen, lifestyle, and or mental health care. And I'm a fortune teller. I'm not a doctor, lawyer, therapist. So what I offer is no substitute for their services. Furthermore, what we share does not determine your future. So please use your gifts of discernment before deciding what to gather and take away. And of course, take only what resonates and blow like a kiss the rest back to the universe for cosmic composting into beauty. This session is for fun and games, for shits and giggles, for entertainment, for flexing our heart, mind, body, soul, spirit, emotions, and intuition. And at the least, we hope to cause harm to none. And at the most, we hope we may assist you on your healing path. And all that said, what else do we want to share in our weekly circle? In our personal and professional experience, we see that loss, not evil, most blocks leading, learning, loving, and living. So we offer products and services. Which to take? It's up to you. And tonight it is perhaps Čačo Busin, or whenever you are tuning into this timeless reading. And so playing your cards, you're already playing your cards. And so this circle is here for support if perhaps it seems it's not working very effectively, or you just want some pointers. And we were so curious about how come adoption has yet to solve the problem of leaving behind young through elder, person, place, or thing, shamed, blamed, scapegoated, and trashed, that we began seeking and sharing solutions. And we are ecstatic to be sharing that with you. We began playing our cards in 2000, frustrated that we couldn't get to our art due to the rigors of teaching and the nature of adoption as it stands. And we thought that if flashcards could help us learn multiplication tables, world languages, how to become a teacher, then it certainly could help us make our wildest dreams come true, like perhaps doing art for us is a dream come true. And so that scientific method plays out in the most wild, blessed, spirited way. And we so enjoy sharing that with you. And 2012, after I began playing my cards in 2000, fast forward to 2012, I was invited to, well, 2011, I was invited. 2012, I participated in the first female Gypsy art, culture, history exhibit in the USA, hosted by the Voice of Roma and the Petaluma Historical Museum in Northern California. And so, yes, beyond wildest dreams come true when you play your cards with intent and focus and clarity and a healed heart, moving forward from a healed heart. And so that is thrilling. You're already playing your cards, and just focusing even more helps your wildest dreams come true. And so to troubleshoot, one easy way you may troubleshoot is regularly or as needed drawing out a T-chart for yourself. So on a sheet of paper, just drawing a vertical line and a horizontal line. And in this quadrant, perhaps you write what's working, and in this quadrant, what's not working, and in this quadrant of our imaginary piece of paper, what you are going to do, and in this quadrant, what others may do to help the situation along. And you may also leave space to date this T-chart, and you may also leave space at the bottom to write your standards. And so you may look at teaching standards or standards of a company or an organization that you're involved in, perhaps to give you ideas. This T-chart, I have the I had the pleasure of learning through the K-12 Center, Arizona K-12 Center in Arizona, and they were collaborating with the New Teacher Center, the UC Santa Cruz New Teacher Center. And so that T-chart that they shared with master teacher mentors in Arizona and other places as well shared the teaching standards at the bottom. And you may find those teaching standards online. I think there's 9 chunks, but within each standard, there's up to 40 different subpoints, perhaps. But you can quadruple check. But to ensure that your cards, the way that you are playing your cards, is effective for you, it's important to know your standards and to operate from there. So anything that's happening, you can come back to that center. And so that may be a fun activity for you to create one day, if you haven't already, is to contemplate your standards and to perhaps write them out on a piece of paper. Maybe you put them on a board, maybe You create your own T-chart and they're automatically there. They're just embedded in your T-chart at the bottom. You have your what's working, what's not, what am I going to do, what are they going to do, the date, and then your standards, and you've put them down there. And that may be fun for you. And you may enjoy quadruple checking the standards that we have created immersed in adoption spirit magic, and you may find those on the Coventina site through our Which to Take website. Coventina is the back door to our Which to Take website. And so if you go into the Coventina website and you search through the pages, there's many pages that are each like a different room that you can enter. And one of those rooms, one of those pages has our standard operating procedures, our standards. And so you can see some of them we borrowed from Gandhi, like Gandhi's 11 vows, like fearlessness and truth, kindness, love, childlike, rush less, anger less, worry less. So these are standards that, immersed in adoption spirit magic, we abide. Now that we have danced away from the emergency states, we have danced away from the authoritative amygdala, that grief struck by loss amygdala, that possessed by grief amygdala, cycling fight, flight, freeze, fuck, fawn, as if it's correct and for the best. We are operating under entirely different standards now, and it is quite thrilling. There is such beauty and love and joy and accessible to us on a daily basis living by these different standards, and perhaps you may find that as well. And so again, those are on our Coventina site that you may check out and borrow and make them your own and see how that assists your play. And these cards that you're playing, they're like your personal and professional development plan to help you adopt success, transmuting violent cycles into love, and also for you to help the people in your circles, the people who you have chosen to be beholden to, whether it's a partner or you fill in the blank. And so what you may do each day or quarter or season or year or decade to help yourself adopt success, transmuting violent cycles into love, and to help those in your circles adopt success, transmuting violent cycles into love. And these cards are something that you can pull out when you need, when you're bored, when you don't know what to do, when you don't even know what to think, when you want to dream weave, all these different times that you can pull these cards off the shelf and play them. And to actually physically make them takes it a step further and really helps the process in ways that are magical, that alchemy. And you may enjoy the book Write It Down, Make It Happen by Henriette Ann Clouser. And I believe that may be in the description for you. If you are interested in exploring more the power of writing down information to make it happen. And while we are here talking about writing it down, an important piece of these cards is your writing utensils. So having pencils that you appreciate using, whether it's a mechanical pencil or you have a special brand that you appreciate, and the eraser that works just right, that doesn't rip your paper, doesn't cause a mess. You may check in art supply stores for these supplies that are just right. You may find colored pencils as well, colored pens as well, and you want a variety of different writing utensils and perhaps even parlaying into paints and multimedia as you flex your play. And so, for example, why would you write in pencil? Why would you write a card in pencil? If you're playing your cards, why would you write a card in pencil? Well, perhaps it's a loss. We want to write our losses in pencil. We want to acknowledge our loss. We don't want to sweep it under the carpet anymore. So often in adoption, passed through the millennia since the dawn of time, so much of that loss in adoption has gotten swept under the carpet, and the adoption has been deemed for the best, and the loss, all the loss that occurred, is believed to be solved now by the adoption, but that's not the case. So how do we tend to that now that we're seeing that that's not the case? Well, you play your cards, you acknowledge your loss, you write it on a card in pencil, each loss. I mean, right? You get to be your own best, most blessed friend, therapist, doctor, and to just be able to acknowledge each loss in your own time as you see fit, and to do it in pencil. And so you may see that when you flip that card over, then you can paint the pretty masterpiece on the other side of what the gift is from that loss. But when it's hitting you in the face, it's punching you in the jaw, and it's all you can do just to cry out and acknowledge it, maybe that's the time to put it in pencil. Like, you can't see the silver lining right yet. You're trying to figure it out. And so to allow yourself that space to work it out, write it in pencil, the loss, on a 3x5 card, right? It's small, right? So it just is manageable. You don't have to write in marble. You don't have to get way into it. You don't have to replay the whole thing in your head again, right? Because these losses are so challenging that we kill ourselves and other people sometimes. So how to manage that, how to make it manageable. And so putting it on a 3x5, putting it on a 3x5 card, and to honor that loss and to trust that you having the courage to look at it in your own time, that eventually that positive flip side, the gift of that loss, is going to come to you, and you'll be able to paint that nice and pretty on the other side, or draw it nice and pretty on the other side in ink, and take that with you, take that wisdom with you, with ease, with grace, with joy. And in between the time that you write the card, the lost card in pencil, and you're able to see the silver lining and rainbows and the gift of that, and put it on the other side, in between you have a whole other bunch of cards, couple handfuls of cards, could be many handfuls of cards of all the different treatments that you can provide yourself to help you heal that loss. Perhaps you have a card that you write, cry, honoring that, hey, sometimes you just need to cry. The First Nations remind us tears are rainbows to our soul. And so there is value in those tears. And perhaps another one of your cards, perhaps that, let's go back to that cry card. Perhaps you have all the implements you need to have a really healthy cry. Like, you have a really pretty cry towel, and tissues to blow your nose, and the trash can to blow your snotty rags in, and the cuddly blanket, or maybe it's just a little piece of fabric that you love that you can hold, or a stuffy, all the items necessary for you to have the most glorious cry you can when you need to cry. And perhaps all that goes on your cry card, so you're prepared. And then all the other different treatments. Perhaps you don't want to cry. You don't need to cry. Perhaps music is the treatment, and guitar is on one of your cards. You love to play guitar, and that helps you soothe yourself and shift. Perhaps you vocalize, and so you have a card that says voice, sing, and all the different ways we can use our voice. And you make these cards all nice and pretty. These are your treatment cards. And on the back of these treatment cards, perhaps you don't need to put anything, honoring that when we don't take care of ourselves, those times we could slip away. We want to take our own lives or someone else. And so these are just some different ways to flex out your play and honor how you are your own most blessed mother and father and friend and therapist and doctor when you give yourself that sweet space to play your cards, that sacred corner that you have created to play your cards. And so your cards are, we've talked about the lost cards that are certain, take up a certain part of your stack, your stacked for life deck of cards. And you have also testament cards. So I rolled the dice today to pick from one of my notebooks of cards to share with you. They've transferred into cards, and the 9 came up, and so it picked this notebook with some of the testament cards. So I'm explaining the testament cards, and perhaps you're familiar with testament, but testament is like your story. If you're not already familiar with that word, it's like your story, your all the bits and pieces of your story. So in your deck of cards, your testament cards are a valuable piece, right? So those times when you need to turn to a friend or a parent or a trusted one and there's nobody there but yourself, you can turn to your cards, and your testament stack, perhaps part of the testament, pops out reminding you of all of these wonderful parts of your life, and you can rest in those, and you can find comfort in those and turn to those to help edify yourself in times where perhaps you're not feeling so swell, or you just need a reminder of where you've been and where you're going. And so before we get to the testament cards, I just want to talk about the number 9 numerology. We are all different psychosocial science experiments, and what resonates for you may be different than me. And so I invite you to explore more on your own any of these things that we're bringing up today. But I want to talk about that numerology, the number 9. And you may explore more on your own. And these cards I filled out with information from Sinti Dale. She's a magnificent subtle energy healer, and she has quite a few books on subtle body, the subtle body practice manual, energetic boundaries, how to stay safe and protected, and the subtle body. And so the 9 signals the end of a boundary problem or detrimental pattern, and confirms that we are ready to move forward and embrace new possibilities. So beautiful, that number 9. And especially as we are dancing away from the emergency states, immersing into adoption spirit magic, we are totally ending that old earth and starting a new earth. And so beautiful, so beautiful, so beautiful. And where is the other number 9? There is another number 9 card here telling us a little more about number 9. Thank you for learning along with me, being so patient. And happiness. Happiness tells us we want more of that. So that's segueing us into another aspect. There it is. 9 represents change and harmony, eliminates the old and can erase quote unquote evil. Eliminates the old and opens us up to a new cycle. Sorry. Represents change and harmony. Eliminates the old and opens us up to a new cycle. Can erase quote unquote evil. And I have quote unquote evil because in our personal and professional experience, each time we look evil in the eye, we see hurt and disguise, calling for the salves of unarmed truce and unconditional love, not always our turn to serve. And so, in other words, that evil is people just grief struck by loss, possessed by grief. And so perhaps this 9 helps us maintain our integrity by maintaining our boundaries. We get the fuck out of the way. We don't drive straight into danger. We don't antagonize people who are so grief struck by loss they're lashing out. We don't. We find other ways to help instead of trying to fight that. It's not effective. It's ineffective. We've seen it's ineffective. Like, war doesn't eradicate evil. Wisdom does, right? I mean, haven't you seen? So, 9. What else about that 9? And pardon me if I am seeming a little authoritative. I apologize. Don't let me tell you what to do, obviously, right? You are a free will, and I don't want to tell you what to do. I don't want to be a tyranny. So the happiness card came up, and to compare our other emotions, fear asks us to move forward, backwards, or out of the way. Disgust tells us that something is not right for us. And I want to also add, it's very important to be discerning with this, especially if you are in a leadership position. Myself, I learned to use this in a way that left behind one person after another. You know, those times when we tell somebody, oh, well, you disgust me. That disgusts me. I wouldn't even treat my dog that way. That's so disgusting. And we think that's getting people in line, but it's really just leaving behind one person after another. It's only adopting success for a select few. And so if you're in a position of leadership, we really want to be careful how we to our own disgust, and to use our discernment, and to stepping away from the fight, flight, freeze, fuck, fawn, from those emergency states where we used to use that as a tool to get people to move. We used to use this as a tool to get people to fall in line. Like, you disgust me. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't even treat my dog that way, to try to get people to fall in line the way we talk about, oh, well, that person disgusts me, and we think that's going to get them to fall in line. It's not effective leadership. That's not what we're talking about here with this disgust. This is more on a personal level, when you're doing your personal work and you're using it as a white flag to tag out. And so we really want to be careful with that one. And then our anger. Anger asks us to set boundaries, and it's a secondary emotion. It comes after sadness. And so really, that anger often comes before we've recognized our sadness, right? We've, in the emergency states, in those fight, flight, freeze, fuck, fawn states, we've been told to stop crying, or, you know, we'll be given a reason to cry. And so the alternative is to tap into that anger and do the forced march, right? But we're not doing that anymore. And so our anger is a white flag to tag out instead of march forward. Our sadness as well. And you know, just understanding learning more about what is for us as we step out of the adoption fairy tales, out of the fog of the adoption fairy tales, as we step out of the fog of the gypsy myths, as we step out of the fog of the matriarchy, of the patriarchy, of the fascism, of the racism, the racism racing from here to there, the racism, the grief struck by loss, amygdala, cycling, fight, flight, freeze, fuck, fawn. And we're really taking responsibility for the loss and how it affects our health, and learning to walk a different way, walking on that healing path. And so as I went through all of that to get to the number 9, telling you about the number 9, to get to the testimony cards I was going to share, we are running a little late. So thank you for staying over the half an hour, and we apologize for starting late. We are learning our technology still. And so that's that. Let me see, where did it go? Looking for my cards. They are hiding on me. That's so funny. Here they are. Nope, that's not them. Okay, well, thank you for your patience. I don't know where that went. That is the weirdest thing. I put it in a safe place. Now I can't find it. That is so weird. Oh, there it is. Okay. Thank you so much for your patience. Moving this up a little bit. And so testament cards, pardon me. This one goes back to 1973. My brilliant, creative, adoptive ma. This was needle pointed by her back in the day. And I adored this, and I adore my adoptive mom. Even though I have come out of the fog of adoption. And so these are remnants from my childhood. My name is Christina, but you can call me Riva. And so these are some of my testament cards, even though they were not done by me. So you see how this works. And you may take love letters, you may take your varsity letters. This is my varsity letter from Cairo American College, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. I swam for the team there, and it was quite thrilling on so many levels. Fairfax High School, Fairfax, Virginia. Soccer, swimming, soccer and swimming. So much fun. And Palestinian cloth gifted to me by my adoptive ma, and beautiful woven fabric that she had a vest made for me when I was a teacher in the classroom, and spirit cards from the First Spiritualist Church of Onset's Wednesday night Zoom mediumship classes. One of the classes had a workshop on talking to your spirits with candle flame. And so you can see some of these. It's so much fun. My spirit guides are coming in, surrounding me. Angel blowing the horn, the wings. I love this. And then, so these are my attempts. We all did our attempts. And so super sweet. And then you may join their Zoom online. I think it's the churchone.org, but it is quadruple check me, the First Spiritualist Church of Onset. You may find them online, and then you may access and join the mediumship class. It's an open class. I think it's $5 or $10. And these are just different affirmations. Rosology is a brilliant reader on YouTube, you may find. So these were some that she shared during her readings. Different ways you can flex the testament cards. And I appreciated these so much. And so the testament cards, these are some testament cards and wild cards, I'd say. So you find different people along your path or different affirmations, and perhaps those fall under the wild card category. But I mean, you can call it whatever you want, right? But just to help relate it to like the different suits in a standard deck of cards, you have your hearts, your spades, your diamonds. I know there's another one. You get my drift. And so you can have fun playing. You can have fun playing and feel relief that you are taking action on your plan for life and your lifelong personal and professional development plan in the form of a card game. And well, we went here and there today. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you appreciated this and want more, we have an A to Z menu that you may see on Instagram. And we are wrapping up our year 1 in business as which to take. And we are so thankful to be doing this work with you and creating the safe, sound space for the literal orphans and adoptees, literal and figurative orphans and adoptees on the healing path who are choosing the healing path, including ourselves. And it is a thrill to build new earth with you. And thank you so much for shuffling states of emergency into adoption spirit magic with us, for steering clear of danger, for playing your cards. Heartily, we are grateful. Until next time, ciao for now. We love you all.